Okay, then I'm going to make a start. Good morning all. My name is Holly. I'm an Engagement Officer for the Communities for Work Plus project. I'd like to welcome you all to our first Careers in Construction question and answer session with Acorn. Thank you all for joining us. So, as I've said, if you haven't already, please could you mute your microphones and turn your cameras off. And I'd also like to inform you that this event is being recorded so that we can share the information with anybody who could not join us today. So I'm going to start by giving you a brief summary of the Communities for Work Plus project and the support that we and other employability projects under Neath Port Talbot Employability can offer in our employment. We will then be from recruitment. Everything you'll need to know about the construction and industrial within your area through Acorn. Once our guests have finished speaking, you will have a chance to ask questions. And you can ask questions either by clicking on the raise hand option, which will show the employer you wish to ask a question, and then by unmuting yourself to speak, or you can ask questions via the chat or conversation option. So, who are we? The Communities for Work Plus project is a local authority employability programme funded by the Welsh Government that acts as a wraparound support for the Communities for Work project. We work alongside other local authority employability projects such as Workways, PACE and CAMNESA, which you may have already heard of. We all come under the umbrella of NPT Employability, working together ultimately with the aim of helping you to find suitable and sustainable employment. So how have we helped? From April to August 2020, our Communities for Work Plus mentors have engaged with 89 individuals and have helped 59 individuals into employment. That is an engagement to job conversion rate of 66%, ranking us at number 2 in Wales for job entries. As well as this, our mentors have supported 12 participants to undertake construction-related training, and as a result, these individuals have gone into full-time employment. Who can we help? We can help individuals living in Neath Port Talbot who are aged 16 and over and are either unemployed and looking for work, or are already working part-time or on a zero-hour contract and looking to secure more hours or change career. What can we help you with? We can help you with things such as confidence building, funded training opportunities, mock interviews, work experience and employment opportunities. And we try to help break down any barriers you may be facing, preventing you from accessing work. So, what's the process and how do you get our help? The first stage is simply getting in touch, You can contact us easily via WhatsApp, text, or by calling or emailing us. You can also send your details in to us via our online referral form on our webpage, www.npt.gov.uk/C4W. We have a central referral system, which means that if you get in touch with us for help, you will then be allocated a mentor and be allocated to the most suitable project based on your needs. You don't have to worry about whether you're eligible for us or not. You can leave that to us. Once you've been referred to the project, you will be assigned an employment mentor who will work with you on a one-to-one basis, meeting with you regularly in local community buildings to help you achieve your employment goals. Our mentors are still working from home due to COVID-19, but are still available to help you via telephone, email and video calls. So, if this is something you're interested in, please remember to jot down our contact information and get in touch. I will now play you one of our lovely success stories from our mentor, John.
The Communities for Work.
Hi guys, can you see the video?
Yes.
Great.
The Communities for Work Plus programmes offer employability support to people who are looking to get into work or back into the world of work. We can support people over the age of 16 years. Our teams can provide one-to-one mentoring which is tailored to suit individual needs and provide support, guidance and training to help people build confidence, gain valuable skills and help them move forward and empower them to find the work. Communities for Work Plus also supports individuals who are working low-hour or zero-hour contracts to help them secure additional hours. This is done through gaining new skills and qualifications. The mentors provide guidance and support throughout your journey to employment and will help you identify areas for development and provide access to training. They will help with CV writing, job searches, interview techniques and explore all avenues to overcome barriers that the clients may have. The mentors offer a personal and tailored service, different for each individual's needs. This is Mike and John's journey.
My name's Mike Smith, and my wife unfortunately left me just over 2 years ago, and having been a very confident person, I suddenly turned into this nervous wreck where I lost my confidence. I became very, very anxious and very depressed. So I phoned John. I met him, well, I would say within a week. We arranged it around my therapy and stuff, and I came down and John and I sat, and basically it was just a get to know and fill out forms, and I said what I wanted to do. A couple of months John and I would meet up on a regular basis, sit down, have a chat, and I'm glad to say John's perseverance came with a chainsaw qualification for me.
My name's John Evans. I'm an employment mentor for the Western Valleys. And by the end of the week, then Mike was phoning me to say, John, brilliant, I've done it all. He told me the story about how hard it was, but he really wanted to do it. And for me, I knew the person that I was speaking to on the phone and the person I originally met was two different people.
I like going out and volunteering, and one of the projects I'm on at the moment, I'm felling trees for this project, and then I do the lumbering side of it, turning them into posts so that children, youngsters, play in the environment we create. But it's also about the older boys, the sort of like 14 onwards, they come down and they start to learn bushcraft skills. I'd like to think I'm very strong, very independent, but 2 years ago turned my world upside down. I do think I wouldn't be at the bottom of that bottle. I think my own inner strength would have done that, but I think you would be interviewing a very sad, unhappy man who wasn't coping with life. John has helped me, and John's organisation to do is not only to learn a new skill so that I can bring in a bit of money every month, it's also given me the skills to manage my life better, as in my mental disability.
Okay, thank you for listening all. I will now hand you over to Lawrence Beach and Andrew Petterill from Acorn.
Thanks, Holly. Right,
No problem. Thank you both for joining us today.
That's all right. That's all right. I'm just going to try and see if we can get this screen shared with you. Does that come up now? Is that working?
Yes, that's perfect. Thank you.
Ah, there we go. Well, look, morning all. Thank you for inviting us, Holly, and thank you for giving us opportunity to sort of share some of the vacancies and the careers that we have in this area with you. As I say, I'm Lawrence Beach. My colleague Andrew is in the background there somewhere, and what we want to do is just give you a little bit of an idea about. There he is. So we want to give you a little bit of an idea about what our role is, I guess, in this area. So I won't try and keep this short and sweet and nice and punchy to the point. So this is us. In terms of what we are as a business, we're a sort of proud Welsh company, sort of based down in Newport, and obviously we cover a sort of wide range of sectors, but two of our strongest are construction and industrial. So people may know us from historically working for a long time at Talbot Steelworks, but also what you may not know is across a variety of construction sites all around this area and further afield too. And essentially, what we do as a recruitment business is provide that link between those end employers that are looking for individuals, and you guys, the job seekers. And sometimes, as I say, what we get challenged to do by these employers are really trying to work with the local communities and organisations like communities for work, so that we can try and find those behaviours and develop those skills to make these jobs accessible to you. Little example of some of the companies that we work with. So these are some of the businesses that we work with, particularly in this area, and some at the moment. Some of these industrial, some of these construction. What you'll kind of notice with us is the type of businesses that we do work with are those that we'd say are sort of towards the larger scale. So we tend to deal with a lot of sort of volume opportunities. Kind of roles we recruit for. I mean, there are so many more than this, but I've just tried to throw in some of the sort of more frequent ones that have come up for us, recently. And I guess these again are probably the ones that are most prevalent right now. Some of these ones on here I'll show you later. We've got current vacancies for. Where are our vacancies? So I've just tried to give you a little idea there on a map about where some of our sites are. I've obviously highlighted the Talbot Steelworks there as that is Andrew will touch on later, is an area where we have consistent vacancies. But some of those other dots and marks on the map there are some of our construction projects, or our clients' construction projects, I should say. So we've got quite a nice spread. Doesn't show it on the map there, but we've got a number of jobs in Bridgend as well. So there is a construction in particular is one of those sectors that are bucking the trend a little bit, and it's still busy. Despite all this COVID stuff hanging over us, there's still a lot of construction work going on. I'm just going to pass you over to Andrew initially, who's going to give you a bit more about an idea about the steelworks and those sort of industrial opportunities available. So Andrew, I'll pass you, my friend.
Thank you, Lawrence. Morning all. My name's Andrew. As Lawrence said, I do a lot of recruitment, certainly within the steelworks, and there's a few bits and pieces outside of it as well. We're regularly recruiting for sort of steelworks labourers, steelworks operators, construction plant drivers within the steelworks. These can be anything from a sort of 2-day week, 2-week shutdown to long-term roles which will become permanent for the right candidates. There's a quick slide there, and these are actually a few quotes, real-time quotes from some of the guys that we've placed in the past. It's with the labouring side of things, it's sort of 40, 50 hours a week. It can be sort of Monday to Friday, it can be Saturday to Monday, it can be various different shifts, anything from 8 hours to 12 hours a day. All three of these guys started off as labourers. We've got guys that have been there, that have been taken on permanently, that have been in there since I started with Acorn sort of 10, 12 years ago, that are now sort of progressed into to being well paid and key members of staff, so it is a stepping stone. Some of you guys may have seen the sort of Facebook campaigns we've been running recently. Yes, it tends to pay a low basic wage, but a lot of these sort of jobs come at maybe 50 hours a week, and they pay up to sort of 25 grand a year for a labourer. We've got guys that are earning £5,000-10,000 more than that, driving construction machinery on site. So they are real good opportunities for candidates who really want to apply themselves, make a name for themselves, that are looking to settle down into a job that certainly has a strong future, I suppose. There we go. So this is one of the sort of campaigns that we've highlighted on Facebook recently. Yes, you'll be starting as a labourer. For those who apply themselves, it could lead on to bigger and better things. We've had people start with a shovel and barrow, which kind of is the labouring side of things, cleaning up spillages from under conveyor belts and so on and so forth. So it's manual work, it's long hours. but they've persevered with it. Training is there to get trained up on bobcats, loading shovels, dump trucks. We've got class 1 drivers, class 2 drivers that have started as labourers. Yes, you may get a better hourly rate in some of the other sort of warehouses, Tesco's, distribution centres, Amazon, and so on and so forth. We've got a lot of guys in the steelworks that have sort of dipped their toe into these warehousing and distribution centre roles. They never seem to work out. Well, I'm not saying this is for everyone, but a lot of our guys have been in them, you know, and they've come out of them and they've settled really well into the steelworks. You know, the CCNSG safety passport. Now, there may be some slides later on that Holly's going to show us. If you are sort of claiming benefits, there is help you can get towards that safety passport. It is 180 quid for the qualification, but we do encourage people to think of that as an investment in yourself. You know, it's valid for 3 years. You could be earning 60, 70,000 pounds in 3 years. 180 quid is a drop in the ocean. You know, these jobs very often do become permanent. So, like I say, it's a good investment in yourself. They're all pay-as-you-earn rates. We pay you, accumulate 30 days, up to 30 days annual leave. And as I mentioned, they're sort of long-term positions. A lot of agency work, you know, is temporary work. You could be there for sort of 2 weeks, 3 months, 6 months. But like I say, for the people who apply themselves, these roles are a lot longer term with a view to becoming permanent. So, Steelworks overview. We do need to tend to have guys that have got a driving license. Now, there are 2 reasons for this. A, getting back and forth to site. A lot of people get dropped off at the visitor centre and get lifts in with friends. Now, if your friend or your lift doesn't turn up for work, that means you're going to struggle. Some of these shifts can be sort of difficult shifts, you know, sort of 4 on, 4 off shifts starting at 6 in the morning till 6 at night. It could be 6 at night till 6 in the morning. It could be weekend work. You know, we struggle with people that walk into site because Tata put a lot of restrictions in to the places you can access on foot. So that's the reason we generally ask for driver's licenses. There are a few jobs available, though, that you don't need them. So shift patterns, 4 on, 4 off, 10, 12-hour days, long days, difficult days sometimes. You know, you're working out in the muck of the bullets, in the rain and the sun. We don't generally tend to have people that complain about the work because we do interview all our candidates face-to-face in the steelworks. So before they start, they've already seen the environment, met the management team with some of the companies we recruit for. So you're not kind of going in blind, I suppose. So yeah, flexible approach is needed because of the shift, because of the hours that are worked. Have we got a next slide, Loz? Thank you.
Well, I think that's you done now, buddy. If
Yeah,
is anything else you want to touch on there, and on the sort of steelwork side?
No, I'm keen. The guys we recruit for are very keen to sell these opportunities as careers. You know, yeah, some of the jobs are short term. Some of them, the shutdown jobs and stuff like that, it might be working for a couple of weeks at a time. Generally, if you cut your teeth on a shutdown, if you want to stay in the steelworks, you know, and you've proved yourself over those sort of 2 weeks, 10 days, whatever, it's a lot easier to get you in with the other clients because obviously you've already got the safety passport, you've seen the environment, and it's familiar then, you know.
Good man. Right, thanks, Anne. Well, obviously we come back for questions and things at the end. So you know, if anybody has any you give us a really good insight into the sort of steelwork side of things. But if you've got any questions, guys, maybe we sort of come back to those at the end. I want to touch on construction and construction vacancies. So I've been doing this job for 15 years. So God knows how many people I've placed into construction roles in that time. I tried to put a couple of pictures up there because these are 3 different programs that, you know, I've been involved in. All the people you're seeing in these pictures are people that have never set foot on a construction site before. And you know, when I've put on there, it's open to anyone. It really is. I mean, a lot of the sort of entry-level construction roles tend to be things like general operatives. It might be a role for a gate person who's like it's a bit of like a logistics role at the start of the front of site. There are positions you can access in construction if you've never picked up a shovel, you never owned a pair of boots. It is still accessible. We look for different characteristics, and that we look for people that have got great attitudes, great work ethics. So that was the first point I wanted to make. You'll see on the left there, that's a female specific project that we worked on the left. It doesn't matter age, sex, race, religion, it is open to anyone. Bit like Andrew, I wanted to kind of touch on why go into construction. So I get asked this a lot in terms of, look, do I want to go and be a labourer? Is there any benefit to it? There is still a huge skill shortage in construction, and there is still a big problem in the industry in that we're worried about displacement. And what I mean by that is we've got an ageing workforce where we haven't got enough young people coming through to take the place of the old. We are lacking in skilled trades, and a lot of these skilled trades you do at college, but a lot of them are learnt on site. The vast majority of trades out there are learnt on the job. So the only way you access those jobs are by starting on a construction site in an operative level, linking up with a contractor who then teaches you how to pick up a trade. So there really are long-term opportunities in construction far beyond any immediate vacancy you might go in at any level. So the point I'm trying to make is, why take up a job in construction? Because it could actually give you an opportunity to build skills that you'll use for the rest of your life. And from a financial point of view, the money that people are paying for skilled tradespeople at the moment is very, very good. And that goes the same with operators. Through jobs that we've placed people onto in the past, it has also led to, directly to training schemes with companies. It's led to apprenticeships in companies that we've worked alongside, have then given our workers priority onto their apprenticeship schemes. And in I guess more of a short-term view, but still, still very favourable, is that the vast majority of our jobs are long-term. We only tend to work on sites that probably have a minimum 52 weeks. We tend to work on projects at sort of £5 million value and above. So, any of those sites are there for a year at least. So often the opportunities we're offering have got a good bit of meat on the bone as well. I want to tell you a little bit about the type of people that we try and take on, we try and look for, and these are the sort of people that we think do well in construction. It's probably nothing you haven't heard before, but just to re-emphasize, this is what we're after. Reliability has always been one of the main issues in the industry. I think it's linked, obviously, sometimes could be more manual. It can be in all weathers. We're coming up to autumn now, coming into winter. There's going to be some cold mornings. There's going to be some wet days. It's true. You need to be the type of person that feels comfortable working outside, feels comfortable working in those conditions. Times have changed in construction. They don't, flog you to death anymore. It's not all about heavy lifting and carrying. It's much more advanced than that now. We have machines and we have lifting equipment that does most of the work for us. But one thing we can't change is the weather, and I think there always will be a need for people looking at working in construction to be pretty open-minded about that element of it. We like people that show initiative. Often on these bigger sites, we do give you quite a bit of responsibility, not in terms of letting you go and wire up houses or sort of dig foundations in a machine straight away, but we give a list of jobs that we feel confident you can do, and we like people that can take responsibility for their own work. Safety is a massive thing. Anyone that's done any safety qualifications or the CSCS or anything like that will know that safety is a big issue in construction, and we like people that again, take a bit of responsibility for safety of themselves, but then linked to other people. If they see something that's not safe or they see a hazard, they do something about it. You know, and lastly, as I say, it's construction needs a bit of patience. You know, if you've got a good work ethic and you're willing to, you know, to stick it and to keep going, the opportunities are there. You know, but you can't expect them to be there after 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. You know, you've got to be able to do the basics, work hard. You know, potentially as an entry level role, you know, for 6, 12, 18 months. But if you can do that and show that you're a good worker and you've got a good work ethic, the opportunity and the rewards will be there, as I said before, in terms of training or apprenticeships and long-term careers. Just obviously, something I thought you'd all be keen on would be a bit of an idea about, you know, hours and pay and that sort of thing. For an entry-level role, well, yourself, you know, so I'm talking something that would be sort of like general labourer level or similar. You'd be paid around the living wage level, okay, as a minimum. We don't pay any lower than that, and you can see them from the different skills you acquire. You know where those pay rates can go. Hours do vary. We don't tend to work shifts, obviously, like they do in the steelworks. So predominantly, you know, we work a Monday to Friday week, and predominantly it's between the hours, you know, of between 7:30 and 6, in somewhere in between there. You know, there doesn't tend to be nights. There doesn't tend to be reliance on weekends. But the more flexible you can be, obviously, the better. But it's not essential. Overtime is common, as I've put in there. So there are ways that you can increase your earning potential through you know, ability to maybe, you know, do a few extra hours and do some weekends if you wanted to. But normally that is optional. So I've just put up a couple of, you know, these are live vacancies we have now. Okay, so these are jobs that we are recruiting for as we speak. Just want to try and give you an idea, I guess, of number one, what type of vacancies are there regularly with us, and then I'll go on to explain how you can actually sort of find out more and access those as well. We have moved a lot of our processes online now, as obviously in the wake of COVID, we're trying to use less face-to-face contact. So there's a web link there on how you could actually you know, register with us and complete our online application. And just by contacting us directly or through Holly, you know, we're happy to have a chat with anyone and go through, you know, any questions you might have. And just I guess try and help you understand the role really, and whether it might be something that you'd, you know, be interested in, and if there is a need for you to gain extra training or experience, then again we can help with that. And that kind of brings us to the end really of sort of what we wanted to talk about today. Hopefully that's given you a bit of an overview of what we do in this area, what type of people we look to take on in the area, and as I say, we hope that some of you might quite like the sound of some of those opportunities and might be interested in getting in contact, and maybe we'll see you working for us in the near future. But I think at this point, I guess, Holly, we could kind of open it up for any questions anyone might have.
Definitely. Thank you both very much for that presentation. It was brilliant. Yeah, so does anybody have any questions for either Lawrence or Andrew? I do actually have a list of questions that have come from some of the mentors. I think you may have already covered some, but I'll pop them in the chat so you can have a quick look over as well. Sorry. Sorry, it's a bit mixed up now. So are there roles available for all abilities levels? Are there work experience opportunities available? How quickly can your salary increase if you show a good work ethic, are reliable? What age do you accept? Is it 18 plus? Is there a minimum qualification level or preferred qualifications experience needed? Is it pay weekly or monthly? Is PPE provided with regards to COVID? Do you take individuals with criminal convictions?
Anne, do you want me to field a couple of those from a construction perspective, and then maybe
Yeah, can do.
You talk about it from a steelworks perspective.
Yeah.
Pretty similar both sides. Holly, if I've missed any of these, then just pick me up on here. But in terms of criminal convictions, yes, we do, and in fact, we actively encourage applications from people with criminal convictions. We do assess on a site-by-site basis, obviously depending what we're doing on that particular job and what environment it's working in. But we've been one of the most proactive companies, I think, in the area about trying to help and encourage people to apply for our roles with criminal convictions. And it's not just a tick box exercise. If you have a look at our website, you'll see some great examples of some really good success stories of people we've had working for us with criminal convictions that have done brilliantly well for us. I can help with work experience. A number of the sites I showed you earlier in this area really actively encourage anyone that would like to come and take part in some work experience, just to try and gain a bit of knowledge about what goes on these type of sites and find out if you really like it. I'm more than happy to help arrange that. Just come in contact with me. Look, really good. I think one of the ones was age, wasn't it? On construction sites, generally speaking, they like people that are 18 plus for risk assessment purposes. However, they will make exceptions to that depending on the type of role. It would probably have to be a general operative role rather than anything too skilled. But they risk assess it. So I wouldn't rule out any applications from anyone between 16 and 18 as well. How quickly you can progress is a great question. And I think really that I tried to sort of touch on it earlier in that you do need a degree of patience. I'm not going to pretend that you can expect to be on there for 6 weeks and suddenly your money jumps up. I think you do need to, commit yourself and be prepared that might be the level you're on for, say, 6 months. But certainly past that period of time, yes, definitely opportunities. Most of the companies we work for will invest, even though you might be technically, working for an agency in some cases, they will still invest in training with you, and they'll often put you through some additional short courses and tickets that again will help you moving forward and be a little bit more valuable and worth a little bit more money on an hourly rate. I think we've possibly covered some of those other questions in the presentation, but any other obvious ones on there, Holly, you want me to touch on from a construction point of view?
Sorry, did you mention about the pay as well? Do they get weekly or monthly pay?
Sorry, weekly pay.
Weekly, okay. And PPE with regards to COVID?
Yeah, so the way I look at PPE will all be provided by the employer, okay. And that is the employer's responsibility. But what I always say to people is this: when it regards to COVID, 100% the employer has that covered, and all of the sites we work on, I can only speak for those, have got really forward thinking. They do tests on the way the site. They've put loads of measures in terms of the welfare areas on site, and they provide relevant PPE. So if for example you were going to be in an area where it's really difficult to social distance, they use like the actual sort of half mask with a P3 filter, which is like nothing gets through there basically. So yes, they do provide all the relevant PPE for that. When it comes to general PPE, I say to most people, look, it is the employer's duty to provide it. But if you have got that, or you can get yourself as prepared as possible, you do make yourself that little bit more employable. And it means you're able to maybe start a little bit quicker, or it does help.
Thank you.
Andrew, do you want to touch on any of those from a sort of industrial point of view?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, with the qualifications for the steelworks, yeah. So it's the CCNSG, it's the Site Safety Passport. Now that is essential. You cannot get into the steelworks without the safety passport. It's a 2-day health and safety training course, usually sort of run by Barry Training down in Baglan, every Thursday and Friday. That is essential. You will not get onto the steelworks without that. But I know we've discussed, sort of Communities Plus can cover the cost of that for certain individuals. That is the least you need. I mean, for labourers, not essential to have any sort of qualifications. If we're looking for, we've got opportunities at the moment for sort of oxypropane burners. A qualification would be desirable for that, but not necessarily essential, because training is given on site for those roles. You'd be sort of passed out with an in-house ticket for that. When it comes to the construction plant operators, generally they will ask for a past qualification. Sometimes that could be an in-house qualification if you've worked for one of the big construction firms and you've been passed out with an in-house ticket, or CPCS or NPOR's national plant. And that's a lot to do with not so much insurances on site, but heavens forbid there was an incident, the health and safety executive came in to check, despite the fact that you will have been passed out as competent to drive that machine internally by the companies we recruit for. It's always nice to bolster that, to say, look, I've been passed out by a recognised training provider. Here are my qualifications, be it, like I say, in-house, be it CPCS or national plant. Specific jobs like sort of a high-pressure jetting, yes, there are qualifications for that, which always go in your favour. But really, I mean, for a labouring role, it would be that safety passport. With the age now, unlike Lawrence, unfortunately, we don't carry insurance for young people, i.e. underneath 18 years of age, to work on steelworks sites. So guys have to be 18 to apply for jobs in steelworks. Again, weekly pay. Uplifts on pay, again, similarly to Lawrence, you know, don't expect it overnight. A lot of these jobs will start at maybe sort of 45, 50 hours a week anyway. Yes, some of them start at 40 hours a week, so you're talking sort of 18, 19K. On a 50-hour week, Monday to Friday, 10 hours, that jumps quite significantly up to sort of 24 and a half, 25K. So again, you know, it doesn't happen overnight. Some of these jobs start off, but we've got guys that have been there 12 months who are earning thousands more than that because they've applied themselves. They've got a good sort of attendance record that is recognised, and you know, you will be progressed on to other roles. Holly, is there anything else you wanted to sort of know about the kind of steelwork jobs? Any questions for that? Or
That's brilliant. We do have another question.
yeah.
Would you consider interviewing potential candidates without the qualifications? Then if they are successful, they could be sent on to the relevant courses with a confirmed offer of employment should they be successful. Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
Yes, and yes.
yes as well. Yeah.
We a lot of the guys that come into the steelworks, for me particularly, don't already have the CCNSG, the qualification. A lad through this week, we took him Tuesday for an interview. He sat the interview, impressed the guys. We did his substance abuse test there. You know, he's paid for it himself. He's paid for the safety passport himself. He's currently in work and happy to do so. So we generally don't ask people. It's a big commitment to make if you're paying for it yourself. We don't ask people to commit to making that payment until they are satisfied, we are satisfied, and the clients we recruit for are satisfied that they're the right guy for that job, right guy, right girl for that job. So yeah, we often do that, you know, interview people that don't necessarily have the qualifications, then put them through it.
Brilliant. That would be perfect for some of our young people, or just participants in general, really.
Yeah.
So another question, what other qualifications would benefit young people entering the steelworks?
There isn't really one, I don't suppose. You know, I mean, GCSEs, I suppose, a good level of school employment. But, you know, we've got guys in there with no qualifications whatsoever. So there's not really one specific qualification I don't suppose the labourers would require. We've got guys that haven't had any sort of high school qualifications that are great.
Okay, perfect. And I think our last question maybe, are there random drug and alcohol tests on the sites?
Question.
And
do you want to go first?
Yeah, 95% of my guys are tested prior to starting work. That's taken as read on the steelworks. Yeah, there are sort of one or two people on there that don't do the testing, but you would be subject to random testing if you're involved in an incident or an accident on site, you're acting suspiciously, or somebody, you know, had cause to believe that you had been sort of taking substances or indeed alcohol, you know, prior to working.
And if I can sort of add to that from a construction point of view, Holly, I think let's be really clear, guys, that the industrial and construction side of things, these places are very, very safe places to work, but they're safe because of the protocols they have in place.
Yeah.
You know, that they involve a lot of heavy machinery, you know, heavy plant. So we, you know, they really do have a sort of zero tolerance policy to any sort of drug and alcohol abuse. So in terms of what you can expect on a construction site, they do random drug and alcohol tests. So on our sites, you don't necessarily have to do it as a standard before you start, but you could, you know, you would have to consent to doing one of these if asked to, and that could be on your first day, that could be 3 weeks down the line.
Yeah.
When it comes to alcohol, it's basically the same as the drink drive limit. You know, if you know, if you had 7 or 8 pints the night before and you came into work at 8 o'clock in the morning, you took that test, you'll fail it. You know, if same with any drugs, you know, things like cannabis stay in your system for 6 weeks. If you've been, you know, if you like a puff or something at the weekend and you get tested, it will show up, and the normal protocol is you're not banned from site forever, but you are given what's called a red card, and you would have to go and get an independent. You'd have to, a bit like quarantining at the moment, you'd have to go through a cool down period of about 6 weeks until everything was out of your system. You'd then have to, off your own back, get retested, an independent test, and you'd have to prove to the company that you had that. So it's a big rigmarole, and it would be obviously a you know, major blow if you know, this was a job you really wanted and that, you know, was something that kind of let you down. So yes, it's not a job for someone who, you know,
No.
obviously might see that as an issue or something that they, you know, need to deal with first.
Definitely.
From my point of view, that is one of the very, very first questions I will ask you during the pre-qualification stage. Now, we don't judge. If like Lauren said, like you like a puff on the weekend, the Steelworks isn't the place for you. You know, we have people that try and sort of slip through the system. We had one very, very recently. Went out partying on the weekend, was taking stuff he shouldn't be taking, thought he'd get away with it. During the interview stage, great interviewed really well. His CV was great. Went at the Steelworks, they liked him. He provided a urine sample and failed that drug test. He's broken my trust already, because I've already been through these in pre-qualification. You know, the company certainly wouldn't look to employ him. Different set of rules in the Steelworks. There's also there's a hotline at Tata Steel. And if you see somebody on the weekend doing something they shouldn't be doing, you know, you can phone Tata, and they are well within their rights to test you on your way into work. They will ban you from that site for good. It's incredibly tight. The restrictions are incredibly tight at Tata Steel.
But all done for the right reasons, and I think same with the construction
Absolutely.
side. So it's just obviously something you need to be aware of if you're looking at these type of roles.
Definitely. We do have some more questions. When the building work on a particular site comes to an end, do Acorn advertise any other opportunities that come available?
Yeah, good question. Yeah, I think it's one I commonly get asked, really, sort of what happens after, isn't it? And I guess that is the nature of construction in some ways. At some point, one job has to end and another one has to start. So what we try and do is, yes, dovetail vacancies so that, you know, we try and have a forward plan for that individual in their last sort of 6 to 8 weeks of the employment there, to see if we can match it. I'd like to think what we do as a minimum, you know, unfortunately life doesn't give them guarantees, does it? But what we do is try and make sure that person is leaving us in a better place than when they started, and even if it's a case of sort of signposting towards, look, I know that company's taking on, or I know that company's got vacancies, and, you know, making sure we help you out with the right references, and making sure we give you all the tools so that you shouldn't with us and not be able to find another one. the industry at the moment and the demand that we're seeing for good caliber individuals in the construction industry means that we don't see many people drop out of it once they have been really successful in it. So, for example, if you've completed a 6 to 12 month placement with us on a construction site, the statistics are really positive, and very low numbers of people that have then fallen back out of employment. They've managed to secure their next role on another site, whether that be with Acorn or directly or with someone else. So the statistics sort of show us that your chances are really good. If you can kind of complete that 6 to 12 month placement, the chances are you'll go straight on to the next one.
Brilliant. And I think our last question, would there be employment opportunities post work experience? So if somebody showed you that they were useful, they were really good on site in the work experience, would there be opportunities for them afterwards?
Again, really good question. I want to give you an honest answer. Really, it will depend. I think I can't guarantee it. It will depend site from site. Really, there may be an immediate opportunity, or there may be a case where we see what you've done there and think, wow, look, this is someone we could really work with. I would make a rough estimate that if that was the case, I would bet within 3 weeks we could have you placed, whether it be back on that same site or on something else locally. But there's not normally too many people that impress us like that we can't then find work for. So I couldn't guarantee it, and it'd be wrong of me to do that. But you've got definitely increasing your chances.
Okay, great. And is there a minimum amount of time, or a set amount of time that you would take somebody on for work experience? A week, 2 weeks, or longer?
To be honest, no. I mean, look, experience is one of those where we've got a fairly flexible approach to it. I mean, I've got companies there that if you wanted to come and do a couple of days, just to sort of suss it out, they'd be open to that. If you wanted to do a bit longer to really give it a real good feel, a couple of weeks, you could. I would say you could do anything from doing a couple of days a week for maybe a few weeks to doing 2, 3, 4 weeks, whatever you wanted to do. We won't prescribe. We never prescribe that to individuals, because at the end of the day, it is a two-way street, and we appreciate that you're not getting paid for that work and you're coming in to have a look at it. So we're not trying to take advantage of the situation. We literally are trying to use it as a help for both parties, I guess, to see whether to help you understand if it's something you want to do, and again, it gives us a really good look at you if you do want to do that, and you'd be straight to the top of the list of people we'd want to employ when a vacancy was there.
Brilliant. Okay, and there's just one more thing from Leighton. Leight, is that a question or question? Okay. In order to work in the steelworks as a labourer, as well as CCNSG, do you also need a CSCS operator's card?
No, you don't.
Right. Okay. I think that's answered that then. Right. Okay. Well, does anybody else have any more before we end?
Yeah, sorry, Holly, but wouldn't let me type my question. I got one
That's
for
okay.
Andrew and one for Florence.
Okay, great.
The one for Andrew is, on the steelworks, would you need a driving license to get from certain parts on the site itself?
Yeah, okay, so a lot of the clients will require, not all of them, but a lot of them will require a driver's license as part of their recruitment criteria. And again, there's some really difficult places to access on site, that you wouldn't want to be walking to, that you can't walk to. We've had guys in the past with the clients that do now require licenses that have said, look, I'm on the way to getting my license. I've got my provisional and that kind of thing, that 6 months, 12 months later haven't secured their licenses. A lot of it to do is, and it comes into the sort of progression as well. If you're working as a labourer in certain places of plant, they will expect to train you up at some point in the near future to drive maybe a bobcat. You may have to drive the company van. You may have to drive the company pickup on site. you can't do that if you don't have a driving license. That's why they set it out as part of the recruitment criteria. That a few of the clients I recruit for, you've got to have a driver's license. And it's as much to do, like I say, with the insurances of driving those extra bits of plant and vehicles as it is getting back and forth to site. As I mentioned earlier, you know, we've got guys working on different contracts that don't have a driver's license. It's a case of you can get dropped off at the visitor centre. It may take you half an hour to an hour to actually walk to your place of work. Yeah. You don't really want to be doing that before a 12-hour shift. So generally, I'd say sort of 80% of the clients I recruit for, you've got to have a license for.
Right, okay, thanks, Andrew.
Certainly the guys I'm recruiting for at the minute, I don't think I've got any jobs on that you don't need a license.
Right, okay. Right, one for Lawrence.
I was feeling left out then. How can I help?
Right, for the, like, just a normal operative on the construction, and as I just mentioned, I don't have a driving license. Would that be a problem?
So it's not so much of an issue for us on the construction side, to be honest. You know, obviously the steelworks is like a city in itself, isn't it? You know, we have to, you know, access a lot of. It's not like that for us on construction sites, and we haven't got that requirement to sort of drive company vehicles or anything like that. So it's not a requirement for us. All that we stipulate is obviously nature of construction is there are different sites in different places, so you would need to be able to get to that particular site. So, for example, I mean, we've got a job coming up, hopefully in the not too distant future, in the centre of Port Talbot. Well, you know, that would be really close to the train station or bus links. You know, that would be
because I live
easy to do.
I live in Neath as it is. See.
Yeah, gotcha. So I think what we normally do is we have a pretty open policy where, you know, we say, look, these are the locations we've got the roles in. If you can get back and forward to that job for the hours that we work, you know, on public transport, that's fine. It's not a criteria for us to have a driving license.
Right, and another I got a couple of questions. Do you need the CCNSG or is it a CSCS card for the construction side of it?
So for the construction roles, it's CSCS.
Right.
And as I'm more than happy to receive applications and interview people that haven't got that yet.
Right.
But you know, if they were the suitable candidate, you know, then explore those training routes with them.
Right. And how quickly after, once I got my CSCS, would you think recruitment would happen?
Well, pretty quick in most circumstances. I mean, you know, obviously, it's like anything else. You know, we need a little bit of luck with all of these things, don't we, for things to fall in the right place at the right time. But we've had a pretty steady stream of vacancies across the sites in this area. So, I mean, I'll give you an example. We've been placing, you know, on average between sort of 6 and 12 people a week into roles at a sort of general operative level. So, you
that's
know,
what I was looking for, was general operative.
Gotcha. Yeah. So your chances are pretty good. You know, we work on behalf of, you know, the end client, and if for whatever reason suddenly that, you know, you did your CSS and we just didn't have a role that started straight away, then there'd be a little bit of a wait until that role was there. But as I say, generally speaking, I don't envisage you'd be waiting, you know, more than a few weeks to offer you something. And I guess that again comes back to the nature of each individual role, whether you can access it, whether it's the right type of job for you, whether we, you know, felt you were right for that role. So, yeah, I definitely don't think it would be a case of you doing your CSCS and then, you know, you having to wait months and months for actual opportunity, in my opinion.
Right.
Just to add as well, I mean, it's not only sort of steelworks construction roles that Acorn recruit for. You know, I mean, we've got the guys down in our Swansea office as well that provide sort of warehousing roles. We've got roles on at Neath Port Talbot Council for refuse loaders, you know, sort of factory jobs and so on and so forth. So, I mean, I think the main aim for today is the construction engineering and industrial type roles, but we do a lot more than that. Yeah, we do, like I say, the factories, the warehouses. We've got a lot of guys in Neath Port Talbot Council working on very, very long-term contracts, you know, on the bin wagons. So, you know, you don't need a license for those necessarily. But again, you need to be able to sort of get to work for sort of 5:30, 6 a.m. If you're called in, you know, as backup, because often we have sort of people that can't come into work for whatever reason on the morning. You know, it could be a case that you're getting a call at 5 o'clock to head into work for 6.
Right.
So I think a good one good thing I'd definitely recommend is you know, what one easy thing you can all do is we do a lot on social media, you know, and we put a lot of our opportunities out using Facebook and sort of the Twitter channels. So you know, it's definitely worth having a look at that, and you can sort of see a bit more about the breadth of the roles that we have. And you know, you've got the kind of option with us really to put yourself forward for a number of different roles. So you know, there's a few ways that, you know, we can kind of get you out there and into the workplace. But the first step is kind of engaging with us really and having a chat and talking through what maybe your options are.
Right. Okay.
Thank you for your questions. I have one more question, I believe. Let's have a look. Where's it gone? Will previous experience in the steelworks be beneficial to gaining employment? So I think you've pretty much already covered this as well, but...
No, we've got a lot of guys that come in totally fresh.
Okay.
In a lot of instances, how can I put this very diplomatically? We like to bring fresh blood into the steelworks. Yeah, people who sort of worked in different environments. You know, like I mentioned, sort of Amazon. We've got a hell of a lot of guys there that have done a little stint in Amazon. You know, we've taken people that have got no industrial experience whatsoever. We've got guys in from the prison service. We've got a guy started last week who'd sort of spent 5 years working in the prison service. We've got a few construction guys. You don't necessarily have to. For some of the roles, yes, ideally, you know, if you're going in on a short-term role as a sort of shutdown labourer or something like that, familiarity with the place more than anything else is sort of necessary. So you kind of not sort of standing around for hours looking for something to do. You can hit the ground running, but there's a lot of investment, time-wise and financially, made by the guys we supply on training. You know, with the medicals, with the safety passport, we don't really do sort of work experience in the steelworks because of the investment the guys that are looking for work have already made in themselves, you know, and going forward. So you don't need experience. Sometimes it's beneficial, but a lot of the time, you know, we want to bring fresh faces in that haven't necessarily worked in that industry.
Fantastic. You've had lots of praise from everybody. I'll just read those out to you. Excellent presentation. Sorry, I need to leave, that person said. Many thanks for an excellent presentation. That was from our employer liaison officer, Emma Welsh. She said, please contact her if and when you have vacancies available in order for her to share with our mentors. Again, thank you both. Very, very informative. Have to leave, another meeting. Fab presentation, very informative. Thank you. Great info. Thank you to both. Very interesting. So yeah, I would like to thank you myself as well on behalf of Communities for Work and Communities for Work Plus, NPT Employability. An absolutely brilliant presentation. Very interesting. Lots of that I can take back to be able to join us today. So yeah, brilliant. I'm sure you'll have lots of inquiries about your vacancies going forward. Very informative and excellent presentation again.
You're more than welcome.
Thank you, Ollie. Have a good day, everybody.
Have a good day, guys.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us, both listeners and yourselves. I'm just going to put on a quick slide about our training. Leighton or Andrew are going to just give the viewers a quick spiel on that and how we can help with funded training opportunities to work in those positions. So Leighton, are you here?
I am.
Yeah, I'll just share my screen now. There we go.
This will be short and sweet. I know you're all
Yeah.
angry.
Get it to work. Front slide. There we go.
No problem. Holly's asked me to speak briefly about some of the training that you might need or the cards you need in order to get into construction. I'm an employment mentor for the Arden Valleys and the communities for Workplace, but I also helping out with skills and training in Team Orford at the moment with the construction training that they provide there. So as has been mentioned already within this presentation, you do need the CCNSG in order to work within the steelworks, which is, as I said, a 2-day course. We do actually run that ourselves as well within skills and training. So if anybody needs that, that is something that we can provide as well. So feel free to ask Ollie or a member of the team about that. Also with the labouring side, you do need to gain a CSCS card in order to work on site. And in order to gain your CSCS card, you also have to undertake a training day within health and safety for Site Safety Plus. This certificate is needed then in order to apply for the CSCS test, which is a little bit similar to your theory test within driving, where you will be in a test room environment and you'll have 50 questions, which you need to answer within 30 minutes. And on passing that, then you can apply for your CSCS card, which will get you onto site for labouring. And that's mainly it, really, to be honest. There's not a lot. We do provide all the courses ourselves, and we can, help with the funding if you're eligible for the training and pay for these courses for you as well. And that's how short and sweet that was. So I don't know if Andrew wants to add anything.
No, I think everything's pretty much covered off. I think that.
Brilliant. Okay.
No problem.
So, thank you, Leighton. Yeah, so again, if you know of anybody interested in these vacancies and training opportunities, just get in touch with ourselves at Communities for Work. You may not be eligible for our projects, but if you're not, then we will pass you on to our partner projects who can also help you with these qualifications. So the simple way of getting in touch with us, I will just actually go to our next slide to show you that. You can contact us via any of these methods, calling us on 860160, emailing jobsupport@npt.gov.uk, going to our webpage where you can fill out our online referral form, or contacting us on our social media platforms on Facebook, CFW, NPT, and NPT Communities for Work Plus on Instagram. Also, if I go back to the other page, you'll see Andrew's poster on the left there. It gives his exact contact details. Andrew's actually taken the names for the course, but you can contact us via any of those methods and we will book you on to a course as soon as we can. And also, if you are interested in applying for any of the Acorn vacancies, please send your CVs over to Emma Walsh, our Employer Liaison Officer, at e.walsh@npt.gov.uk. We'll pop her email in the chat box now, and she can collate the CVs and send over to Lawrence and Andrew then, who will get in touch with you. Or alternatively, like Acorn said, you can go on their link and apply for their vacancies that way. So I think that's it. Does anybody else have anything to add to that?
No, not for me.
No. Okay, just again, a very informative and excellent presentation. Thanks, Holly, Andrew, Lawrence. Wonderful presentation. Thank you both. Could you please send out the poster to share with Job Centre work coaches? Yes, I have actually done that, but I will share again. Thank you, Holly, Andrew, and Lawrence. Very good. So yeah, thank you again. And also thank you very much to Emma Walsh, because she's been in touch with you both and liaised with you both with regards to this, helping to organise. And again, thank you to the engagement officers for getting involved, sharing, helping with the training side of things as well, Andrew and Leighton. So yeah, thank you for everybody joining us today. And I'll just leave you with our quick team video. Sorry guys, I just realised I didn't put the sound on. I'll do it again. Take 2.
Myself and my lovely colleagues are just sending you this quick video just to reassure you all that during these strange and uncertain times, Communities Work Plus is
still here. But we're still here to support you and help you with any of your employment needs.
And although we might not be in our usual base at this difficult and uncertain time,
we are here to help you and support you every step of the way.
Some of the things that we can help with are CV and help you apply for jobs. We can also put you on online training courses to better your chances of getting a job.
If you are out of work at the moment and you are looking to return as soon as possible,
start your journey with the Communities for Work and the Communities for Work Plus teams. All you have to do is make contact.
Mentors can contact you via telephone, WhatsApp, Facebook, email or virtual calls.
So please give us a call on the numbers provided, and we look forward to hearing from you soon in this strange time.
So go out there, do something, enjoy life.
Okay, and that is it. Thank you everybody once again.
Thank you, Holly.
There we are. Take care. Bye everyone. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Sorry, if you are still here as well and you've listened and watched the presentation, can you please fill in the survey that I've left at the top of the chat? I'll just go down the bottom again now, just to see how we can better improve our events going forward. Thank you.